Hey, it's Tina. I help experts turn their IP into certification and licensing programs. And today I want to talk about what makes a good training program. Oh my gosh, if you've been around for a while, you know there's all sorts of training programs out there, and you've probably experienced some great ones and some not so great training programs. And yet, if you're going to create a certification or licensing program, it is essential that your training program is good. That's the foundation of everything that comes along with your program. And so, first and foremost, what does it mean to have a good training program? It is not about having the fanciest slides, the fanciest videos, great backgrounds, speaking clearly and perfectly and never making a mistake or any of that kind of stuff. Yes, those things are nice when you're putting together videos or recordings or events and such, absolutely. But as I lovingly like to say, a training video and a Q&A call does not a training experience make. Those are not actually effective methods of training somebody. And yet we see so much of this in the online space. It's like, great, here's your training video. One of my mentors, Dr. Carrie Graham, she's a PhD level adult learning expert, and she worked together with us on our certification program a number of years ago. And I just remember Carrie saying to me, she's like, Tina, people do not learn by watching a video. They don't learn by just receiving the information, right? We have to take it a step further than that. We need to be looking at adult learning best practices when it comes to putting together your training program. And that's really looking through the lens of how adults learn best, a big part of which is them being able to take and learn and apply what they've been learning, apply to situations that they're experiencing, to be able to utilize and practice and demonstrate and really integrate what they're learning. So when I say that, a training video and a Q&A call is not effective training, that's because you're only covering that one piece. You're only covering the giving them information piece, right? I've given you information. Now you should be able to go do whatever it is I taught you to do. And we've got a Q&A call. So if you have any questions, just show up and ask your questions. But you'll know if you've run training programs and or been a part of them, a lot of times people don't show up to Q&A calls. Q&A calls are not effective because they don't have questions. They don't think they have questions. They don't know what to ask when they're on that call, or they come to that call and it's just the same people monopolizing it every time, etc. So, if you run Q&A calls, absolutely, they're not necessarily that effective. And there tends to be just the same handful of people there. And a lot of people don't come at all, or they start dropping off over time. Or if you're anything like me, when I've been in programs that are like, hey, we have a Q&A call. If I'm busy that day and I'm like, I don't really have any questions, I'm not going to show up. Right? And so what does make a good training program? Yes, absolutely. We need to have training videos or live delivery or whatever that may be. We need to be giving them content and information in some fashion, but we need to be really purposeful with what comes alongside that so that your learners, your students, can integrate what they're learning. The goal of any good certification training is the people are coming out the other end of your program feeling confident and ready. If they're coming out the other end of your program and they're not feeling confident and ready to utilize what it is you've trained them in, I don't care if your training is like 6 months or a year long or whatever. I mean, honestly, side note, your training might be giving them way too much information, frankly. But if they're not coming out the other end, having practiced and integrated and applied and lived the program, then I dare say your training is not very effective. Even if it's flashy, even if it's beautiful, even if you said everything exactly the way you wanted to say it. When I'm working with my clients around building their certification, again, lovingly, I'm like, you can't just do a training video, slap a series of them up on a page, and that's it. That does not facilitate good learning. And which for some of you might be a little like, what do you mean? That's what I've been doing. Believe me, I get it. That's what I did for years too, before we made some big changes in our program a few years back. And frankly, we had people coming out of our programs that were not feeling ready to go out into the world and do what it is we've been training them in. And so when we made some big changes, and this is exactly what I do with my clients to help ensure that their program is building in these adult learning best practices, when we made these changes, our ratings went up hugely. At this point, about 96% of people coming out of our training program, our certification, they do feel ready to go out and do what they've been taught to do. That number was a lot lower for a while, to be honest with you, right? And it was because of how we were approaching the training. Was the content good? Yes. Was the intention good? Yes. Was there some great tools and great reasons? All of that was good. That stuff was always good. But the structure of the training and the way we were delivering the program and how we interacted with people, that was lacking. So just a loving, reminder for you, or a loving thing to consider today, that especially with certification or licensing and or any type of training, this can apply to any type of training as well. Just you want to look beyond the, hey, I'm giving you information piece. It has to go further than that. That's step one. There's so many other things that come after that as well. So if you are curious or interested in creating your own certification program, go ahead, pop a comment here with this video if you have a question, or you can click the link with this video to take the Ready, Set, Certify quiz, where I will ask you a series of questions and give you your next recommended steps to take in the journey of creating your own certification or licensing program. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.